Folks, welcome on back here. This is not Monday. I have to keep correcting myself, but hey, of course, today is Tuesday, May 27th, post-Memorial Day. Great to have all of us back, though. Not just inside our live trading room. Great to see Gillis, Kerry, Scott, Leda, Kerry, Bill. Got Michael before, Lynn and Randy, Margaret, and a big shout out to Grant. I think Grant's back full-time with us here, just inside our live trading room. One of our longtime students. He was out for a little while with a bit of a procedure, and we missed him dearly. So great to have Grant back with us. Great to have all of us back, though, on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works. Popping up right below me there. Just subscribe right to our YouTube, mainly at Cyber Trading U. We stream live on all of our social media channels. As I like to say, we're on TikTok. We don't like to do dances, but we're here to educate. But mainly our big social media is on YouTube, at least, at Cyber Trading U. We stream live every morning, every afternoon. We do a live workshop normally every Monday. That'll be on Wednesday of this week tomorrow. So actually, a couple of housekeeping notes to take care of, at least to begin, right? Welcoming Grant back, of course. He's been out for a little while, had a major procedure that he had to take care of. And secondly, I want to wish Fausto, of course, best of luck, and I'm sure he's going to do just fine. He has a big procedure himself this morning, actually. He should be back tomorrow. He was basically saying it's very quick. It should be very in and out, nothing too crazy, but he's out today at least, so we want to wish him well and just send him our prayers. And even myself, perhaps not as big as Grant and Fausto, but I'm actually going to be getting a tooth pulled this afternoon later on today. So, hey, that's the least of our issues right now myself, comparative to Fausto, comparative to Grant. But, life happens, right? So, it's great to see not just Grant here, but Fred, Margaret, Dave, Leda, of course, a lot of us here just joining us because, we're all in different situations in this together, right? Whether it's family that we have to take care of, our own health ourselves that we need to take care of, whether it's work that we need to, step away from the market for a little while for to take care of that. If it's a critical work issue, if you got laid off even, things happen at least. And it's so nice to have all of us here just joining us this morning, as is every day. You don't need to be here each and every morning to take advantage of the market, but that's why we love our trading room, because it's basically a giant community. So yeah, Phil, the wisdom tooth. I thankfully didn't have to take care of it back when I was a kid, but they say that's actually not good now because the older you get, it hurts more, apparently. So the first one they had taken out last year, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. So hopefully this is more of a breeze for me this afternoon, but I'll be talking a little weird tomorrow morning at least. Now let's get to the stocks this morning though. SBET. This thing now is taken off. Phil, actually no stranger to this trade. So Phil had about like 3 trades on this earlier. I think he's like net positive $1.50 or so, per share. He's just trading small size, 100 shares a pop, and he's still cleaning up on it. So he might even be in it right now as I'm talking. So hopefully it is, because it's popping up pretty well. Now the news out on this stock, if anything, let's go over the news on this stock, because we talked about this from the end of last week. More on the Bitcoin front, not as much on this cryptocurrency. But basically, if you recall from last week and the week before, we had all these new companies coming out that are Bitcoin Treasury-esque companies. So ASST, I think KDL, I keep mixing this ticker up, the Nakamoto stock. I think it was it KTLY, KDLY. We had the CEP trade too, Cantor. That's been a nice stock coming off some Bitcoin news. Well, this one actually has to do with a different cryptocurrency, Ethereum. If you're familiar with crypto, then I am, of course. I just like to share with a lot of our non-crypto familiar students here. So this is getting into Ethereum, which is the #2 crypto by market cap. It always has been. It's been basically the sister to Bitcoin, little big brother, little sister. It's a phenomenal crypto, and there's a bunch of smaller coins that are built on this blockchain that you could trade and buy and have fun with. So I guess the news is this company did a private placement on making themselves into a big Ethereum treasury-based company. KDLY, I thought I put that in there, Sam. Oh, is Naka. Oh, how about that? There we go. The more you know, the more I know. Yeah, KDLY had it right actually, but they changed their ticker as of just the end of last week to this year, Naka. So another Bitcoin company there, just to kind of prove the point. So SBET, yeah, we're gonna put this on our watch list just to begin. Now the issue on this one though is be careful of the order book. You know, bad order book. There's no one real out there that's like aggressive out there that's buying 10,000, 50,000 shares a pop. And you hope to see the spread fill in a lot more once the market does open up, at least. I don't know if it will. So this makes it more of a category five, going into the open. 4 or 5, probably leaning to a 5 here, given how thin this order book is right now. But that means, hey, just trade on small size if you got the itch to trade something fast. Don't blow your account on this just because Josh here is saying, oh, it's Ethereum, it's going to pop. Probably will continue over time, but it's already up 300% in pre-market. I was chatting this with Phil earlier, who's one of our longtime students as well. And, basically that's what we were discussing. He even said to me, what was it earlier, Phil? I just want to read your comment. Up and down at times, saw a Fausto flag, but it broke to the downside. With this up so much, it did not, he didn't want to hold onto it so long. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, it's good for scalping, good for doing on tiny size. I would not be trading SBET on the same shares as this FAAS, at least though, into the open. This is a lot cheaper. The order book, expectedly so, should be a lot more filled in. So it's nice to see, but this still needs to pop. Broke out earlier here, pulled back to support, holding off $1. Maybe you could have had the chance to make like 10, 12 cents. It'll bounce there at the time. But the more it keeps peppering that support level, it's going to break it and keep dropping. So, this FAAS, as we get down our list here on the gainer side, I'm not too impressed with it now, but it's up still. Maybe the shorts will continue to cover after 9:30. I'll put it on our list still. Not going to put this on our list, and I'll tell you what, for our students that are in our classes with me and inside the live trading room, a little bit of an inside joke. I've been slacking on my buyout pictures for a while. I think I'm done. I think I'm done right now. I already have enough buyout pictures. We're good. So this is a buyout. It's up 26.5%. It's as flat can be. And you could tell pretty much within the first few candles after that. And it's either going to pull back and continue trading, or it's going to keep popping and keep pushing up. Once it just kind of stalls out immediately here, you could just guess. And more often than not, you're right. It's going to be a buyout. All right. So we did pretty well in a few different sectors from the end of last week. The quantum trades, the autonomous companies. So we'll get to those in just a moment. We have RGTI on the gainers list still, QUBT's, here somewhere. But Hollow, micro cloud hologram, we've done very well on this stock too. You could tell back from this squeeze back from February of last year. But even these smaller ones, it's trading 5 million shares here on this day where it gapped up and popped. So, this was before a reverse stock split factored in. This wasn't really $230 a share when we were trading this here at the time, back at the end of last year. But I just want to explain that for new members just joining us on social media, because we do try and keep it around like $50, $30 a share. Obviously less expensive. Potentially you could trade more size. But yeah, this was back when this was like $1 or $2 stock, and it popped up pretty nicely, but then it came crashing back down. So this is not a swing trade. This is not a swing trading stock. This is not something that we're saying, it's a healthy company. Oh, they have good operating cash flow. Oh, it's going to definitely lead to a new pop later on. Maybe it can. We'll be there to day trade it over and over probably. So going into the open, even here, after this one pop at, 4 in the morning, just kept dropping. So I guess it doesn't hurt us to put that on the list, but holy shit, what happened to ASST? We'll come back to the hollow. We'll come back to that at least. What the hell happened here? ASST. So, this was from Thursday of last week, at least, ended up catching a pretty good run up at the time. Bitcoin continuing to break new all-time highs from the end of last week. And, this did pretty nicely. A little wonky on Friday, just pulled back a bit. But yeah, heading into the open today, it was back up. I'm spitting everywhere. Speaking of getting my teeth pulled. No, but this popped up pretty nicely just before. What happened? My guess here would be a direct offering of shares. That's what we typically see. Rich already posted the news, kind of spoiling it. Let's see. They announced not a common stock offering. So this is a $750 million private investment to fund the first wave of Bitcoin accumulation. All right. So that's actually pretty good news altogether. Win-win because obviously it's going to tank the stock price, but they're using that money directly to buy just Bitcoin apparently. So that's pretty nice to see. Now, obviously, there's a number of big buyers out there in Bitcoin already, like Michael Saylor. You have a Japanese company, MetaPlanet, which is OTC. You have these other firms and institutions like Cantor Fitzgerald that were onto it for a little while. So when you hear those announcements, it doesn't always mean Bitcoin's just going to pop and well, I'll take that at least. Doesn't always mean it's going to happen. So this is definitely a pretty good push so far. You have the big Bitcoin conference this week. I think it might even kick off today into tomorrow, into Friday even. But there's going to be announcements all throughout the week. Perhaps one of those will be big enough to break new all-time highs. I will gladly, with a smile on my face, take this pop. So all-time high is right underneath 113, I think, at this point, or is it 112? But we're not there just yet. We pulled back a little bit heading into the weekend. We spiked down as low as 106 before bouncing back up again here. So we'll definitely take this pop. Going back to the ASST trade, though, for pre-market, it doesn't mean that's going to slingshot up now at this point. It already dropped off the news. Maybe later in the day, later in the morning, early afternoon, possibly it can make a run back up, but it hasn't yet. I wouldn't look to just jump in. So I'll pass on that for right now. JTAI popped earlier, dropped back down. That's dead. Lottery has been a pretty good trade. Nice little, mover the last few days here from like Wednesday of last week, and then Friday popped up pretty nicely. So still holding pretty well. I'll put this on our lists going into the open. The lottery trade. Let's take a look long term. It's already over that, and this is an interesting chart. Not that interesting, I guess. All right, so let's see what we got here historically. Kind of bottomed out, we'll say right around here for a little while because you had a sharper spike up afterwards. What was that, 294? We'll basically say $3, slap that around $3, 295. Has a ways to go to get up towards there. If it just approaches it, I would expect that to hold as resistance there at that point. So it's nice to at least plot the line. Maybe it could push up that high today. We'll see. All right, so we got quantum, we got uranium and nuclear. Those are the three hot sectors pretty much of late. And uranium and nuclear go together. So OKLO, the UEC trade, uranium, this one is all about you. I like to call this one UUUU, Energy Fuels, I guess the name is. CCJ is up, 3.7%, a little more expensive. But if you like more expensive stock, this, is looking pretty good. Is this near all-time highs? Yeah, this looks like it's getting close to all-time highs. Go back to like at least 2006. Let's see if we can go back even further. Have a little fun here this morning. I mean, I just went back 50 years. So if there's anything more than 50 years, then let me know. But, according to my chart here, this is pretty damn close to all-time highs. So as far as the uranium trades go, the UEC is probably the most tradable for what we do here in terms of spread and volume. But the CCJ is likely your strongest over, the long-term graph. So I'm going to add all three of those, the UUUU, all about you, UEC and CCJ. Let's go back to nuclear for right now. OKLO's up 2%. I know the Fausto's done pretty nicely on that of recent. Getting back up towards those highs back from the beginning of this year. So, listen, it's not a 5% plus, but I don't mind putting these trades back on our watch list. Normally coming off of a major holiday, there shouldn't be as much action within the market. So for any stocks that are still holding strong, that's good enough. For any stocks that are up more than that 5%, that's what we'd really want to focus on. So going back to these quantum trades, the other hot sector, Rigetti's up 7%. This goes on the top of our watch list at least. RGTI, QUBT, I'll show in just a moment. This one here, it's up 6%, pushing up from Friday, made a nice pop, built a higher low, and still holding near that high. And then the other one isn't doing as good today, but it's the best long-term one that we've had, the QBTS, right? So it's up 3.7%. I'm just kind of putting them all back on our watch list now. None of these from the gainer side that we haven't really, put on our list yet, I'm not really a fan of. SATL, what happened here? DJT, this was up early in the morning. I was actually likely to put this on our watch list, even if it was going to continue to be flat. Take a look at Benzinga Pro here. Is this a common stock offering? Is this a private placement to buy Bitcoin? Common stock offering. All right. This is it. Get them right 50% of the time. All right, so they announced a Bitcoin treasury deal under which the company agreed to issue and sell 1.5 billion in common stock. That's what it is. It's actually a combination of two. They were talking about buying digital assets, so not just Bitcoin, but maybe Ethereum, maybe Cardano, wink, wink, maybe Ripple as well, Solana. It's just to say though that 1.5 billion, that's a lot of money. So no surprise that the stock price takes a big hit here today. But given the volatility, I'm going to put this still on our watch list. Just given the volatility overall. Maybe it does sling all the way back up. Maybe Bitcoin breaks new all-time highs today and this just goes with it. Who knows? That's a little shooting from the hip there. We'll see if that even comes close to happening. But for the volatility, I'll put it on our watch list. Why not? Yes, stay hydrated today. They say when you get your wisdom tooth pulled later on, you got to keep hydrated beforehand. All right. So LAES, also a stock from last week that's been doing pretty good. Not the biggest pop, best mover, but it's been pushing upward, higher lows, even from Friday where it dipped a bit, continued up this morning even. So that back on our list. We got a big list now. We covered a lot from the gainer side already. So maybe there is like an AMD, a NVIDIA, a larger cap stock that is up right now. We'll get to like the larger cap trades in just a bit. Let me just hop over to the loser side right now because you want to take a look here. I had no idea this was dropping off as much as it has. I guess it didn't pop up on my scan at first, but damn, it should have. It's down 63%. So there's a chance where this could be a potential dead cat bounce. Maybe the shorts cover, and as us day traders, we might look to take a quick trade on this. Maybe it squeezes up to maybe up to 3, maybe up to 350. But I wouldn't expect like a huge gap fill here at this point. It's down for a reason. But that's like best case scenario. We catch a small little dead cat bounce. It is shortable. It is easy to borrow my platform here today too. So if it fails to do that, yeah, the stock is actually at all-time lows. Yep, at least as far as I could see. So I like to say that just to, cross your T's there. But basically, the stock is shortable still on my platform. So if it fails to squeeze up, then immediately try and see if this can break lower. There technically is a ground floor, and this is close enough to it where I normally wouldn't short a stock below $2. But today, where it's at all-time lows, it's coming off bad news. Hey, if it's not going to squeeze up or fails to squeeze up after a point, it could be a decent short. PDD, same thing here, down to 90, $88 or so. We called that out earlier inside our live trading room. I'll put that on our list as well. All right, folks, we got about like 10 minutes going into the open. We'll take a look at like NVIDIA, moving up pretty nicely here still. We'll take a look at Tesla. The whole market's doing pretty nicely coming off the news from the weekend where, Trump and the EU president, I think the Securities Commission president, came to an agreement. They're going to do like a 90-day pause on that tariff hike up until July 9th, I think it is. I think that's the actual date, however many days that technically is. July 9th, I think, is the agreement date. So, nice little gap up overnight in the market here this morning. Take a look on like Amazon. Apple hasn't been doing too good of late, so I wasn't expecting too much there. Of course, iBit making a good squeeze up. If you want me to slap iBit on our watch list there too, I can. But at this point right now, hey, if you focus on Tesla and you normally do well on Tesla, day to day, please keep focused on that. Don't, listen to me yap coming up at the opening bell. If you do well on Tesla and it's up a lot, it's moving up pretty well here today. Same to be said for NVIDIA. Same to be said for like an AMD, maybe even. If there's a stock trending right now upward and it's up like 2-3+%, and you at least do well on that more days of the week than not, if that's your bread and butter stock, then stick with it. There's a lot that we already have on our watch list. If you don't have that type of stock, then I want you to be following our watch list. There's a reason I kind of put certain trades on here and that will highlight more than anything at the market open. But that's where I say if you're a new student, start and stick with the list. For any of our members here that are looking at a couple trades already from there, then there's no need to try and overwhelm yourself and factor in too many trades. We already have a lot. That's our watch list right there that I'm just posting inside our chat board right now. So again, a couple housekeeping notes. I want to give a quick welcome back to Grant, rejoining us here full-time back inside our live trading room. I want to give a quick shout out to Fausto, of course, the whole family, but Fausto, most important, he's, going under a little procedure here today. He'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. If not, then you'll see my ugly mug back on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works. Once again, at Cyber Trading U is our YouTube channel. Our main social media stream is on YouTube. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, etc. But all of our main education is on our YouTube channel. So always hit the follow or subscribe button down below. And then again, I gotta hydrate. Got a wisdom tooth getting pulled myself later on today. But otherwise, we'll be good for the market open here, folks. SBET at 37. Woo! Look at that. Nice way to end off this meeting here, right? So hey, if you jumped in before, I'm sure that you still got some good money if you closed out a few candles ago. Don't cry about leaving money on the table here. We have a whole laundry list of trades that we're going to be focused on coming up in just about 8 minutes from now. So there's plenty of opportunities out there. If you did well already, count that as a huge victory, because normally on a post-holiday trading day, it's crap. There's not normally as much out there. Trust me, Grant knows. Trust me, Michael knows. Leda knows. Chuck knows inside our live trading room. If you did well on this trade just right now, that's like having a setup fall into your lap. It's like a Christmas gift after Memorial Day. So don't worry about if you left money on the table here. There's a lot more trades to work with here coming up. And again, hey, congrats to all so far. But we'll be back in just a bit. Take care.